See. Okay, folks, we're streaming.
Ready? I want you to leave. Aren't you on the committee? Oh,
First meeting.
yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a meeting of the Rockland County Legislative Committee on the Environment. And I'd like to ask everyone to please stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Earl, would you like to lead us?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Everyone may be seated. So there are several members of the committee who are apparently in some other meeting at the moment right now, but we do have 3 members here. And I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Legislator Foley, Legislator Santulli, Legislator Paul, Legislator Hood Jr., Legislator Earl,
Present.
Committee Vice Chair Legislator Wolf, Committee Chair Legislator Cornell.
And I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, welcome, everyone. Welcome, Annie. Didn't see you before. Good to see you. Thank you. The agenda of the Environmental Committee has minutes to adopt from September 28th, 2022. Would anyone like to move the adoption of the minutes?
So moved.
Been moved by Legislator Earl and seconded by Legislator Foley. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Unanimously passed. The agenda starts with referral 9301A, approving a contract in excess of $100,000 for the acquisition of properties from Edward Schmidt and William Schmidt located at 176 and 180 South Mountain Road, New City, New York, for the total amount not to exceed $1,800,000, and authorizing its execution by the county executive, Department of General Services, Facilities Management. Who would like to move that? All right, moved by Legislator, I know, by Legislator Earl, and seconded by Legislator Foley. Is there any discussion on this? Yes. Did anyone want to make any comments about this particular issue? Then all those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Then it passes unanimously. And actually, I should have read some of this so that you all heard this. It's approving a contract in excess of $100,000 for the acquisition of properties from Edward Schmidt and William Schmidt located on South Mountain Road, New City, New York, for the total amount not to exceed $1,800,000. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Okay. Yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
for those of you who don't know, my name is Michael DeMola. I'm the Parks Operations Manager for the Rockland County Division of Environmental Resources. This item was put under Robert Gruffy's name because it is going through capital. However, this project has gone through the Division of Environmental Resources in the Open Space Acquisition Program. So if anyone has any questions regarding this item, I'd be happy to answer those questions.
Oh, it's nice to see you. Thank you very much. Do you just want to tell us a little bit about what the department will do with this property?
Sure. This property is on South Mountain Road. It has the west branch of the Hackensack River bisects the property as long with some red sandstone cliffs, the remnants of an old quarry. There was a house on the property that the current owners had removed and restored the land. and they subdivided out the current house so that we would only be acquiring the vacant land. The property is large enough for a standalone park, and something that we may envision is something to be, honor the art community of the South Mountain Road, the South Mountain Road Arts Community.
Mhm.
So that's something that could be considered in the development of the park.
Oh, that's very interesting. And you might be interested in knowing that the Rockland Center for the Arts, which is located in, it's really near Nyack, I guess is the they have a whole series for the next couple of months about the women of South Mountain Road. So,
Mary Mowbray Clark. who's-
yes, exactly,
Dutch
exactly.
Garden.
So that's just great. Thank you so much for being here and giving us the insight, and couldn't be a nicer place to take for this purpose. So thank you. Yes. Mhm.
Hi, just a quick question. I'm just looking at the maps real quick. This is on the south side of South Mountain Road, so this won't connect into the county park that goes,
No, but
Okay.
it's very close to the Davenport Preserve, the
Okay.
town park, so it does create a greenway
gotcha,
for wildlife.
perfect.
So, and it is across the street, which does continue.
Continues it. Okay, I was just trying to get the location.
Yep, yeah, so
My mind there.
we'd envision this being a standalone park, not be annexed into South.
Annexed, okay. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Real quick.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I see that the properties, they're adjacent, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay, all right. Thank
yes, they're adjacent to each other, so they'd be merged together into one park.
you. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. The next item on the committee is actually the last item. It's referral 9301B, approving a contract in excess of $100,000 in the total amount not to exceed $1,390,000 for the acquisition of two properties located at 1015 and 1019 Route 45 Pomona from the Susan Gordon and Edmund Wyatt Gordon Revocable Trust and authorizing its execution by the county executive. Would someone like to move it? Moved by legislator
I'll move it.
Santulli and seconded by legislator.
Oh.
Did you want to move it as well?
Yes, I'll move it.
All right, so there's a second mover is legislator, where are you? Tony Earl. Okay. Any comments that people would like to make? Anyone want to speak about this? It's, yes, oh, good. You didn't go too far. Okay.
Figures to go around.
Please enlighten us.
Sure. Before I go into the Gordon property, I just want to let you know that the Department of Law will be amending the resolution to dedicate these properties as parkland. It is our intent to have them dedicated, even though it is.
Yeah, Chairperson, welcome back.
Thank
Nice to
you.
see after speaking to Mike, I realized looking at the resolution that it didn't clearly say that these would be dedicated as parkland, and we want to make that clear. So the law department will update these two resolutions before the votes. We'll get them to you tomorrow. That we want to dedicate both.
Are you using the microphone?
And we want to dedicate both properties as parkland.
Yes, that's just great. And is Mr.
Gordon?
Is Mr. Gordon still alive?
Oh, yes, he is.
Yes, I was attended his virtual 100th birthday, and that was probably 2 years ago.
Wow.
So I just wondered, I knew his wife had passed on, but.
Yeah, and these
Yeah.
properties were put in a revocable trust. The Gordons wanted these properties to be protected, so this is in line with their wishes as well.
Right, yes, I think.
Okay, thank you. You were right on track with what I was about to ask you. And as far as renaming of these, will it still be in Susan and Edmund Gordon?
I don't think there's been any discussion as of yet. The Park Commission would probably make a recommendation to the legislature for the naming of the parks after they're acquired.
Yeah. Ms. Dr. Gordon is a fraternity brother of mine, and we've been discussing
That will be
this
considered
quite a
in the discussion for the naming of the.
Right.
right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And the property is actually being donated by the Susan Gordon. I'm sorry, just one second. One second, I'll call you. I was just going to say that the property is actually being put forth by the Gordon's Revocable Trust. So just so that people understand that, and I'm sure that it will be named appropriately.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, Annie.
Oh, okay, thank you. This property, so actually I didn't get it, what was that county, they want us to take it and maintain it, or?
Yeah, this property is also large enough to create a standalone park. There are actually current nature trails on the park that could be upgraded. There's also a property adjacent to it that's owned by the sewer district that may be able to be used for access as well. So there's a lot of potential for this property. It does contain wetlands, so that will be good for protecting the environmental attributes on the property.
It's not the property with that building with the library and all that.
No, it's across from the Conklin Orchard. There's an agricultural field. There's some mature woodlands and some wetlands throughout the property, but there's nothing on it right now. It is vacant.
Okay, thank you.
And it's right across from a,
Down to earth.
no, I mean, actually, this is the one with the, I'm just looking at this. There's a large building right across the road from their home, from the home.
There is a building there for the sewer district, but that's on their property and it's not included on this. And then there was another building just adjacent to it, but there's none on the property.
Okay. No, I've been to their home, and I mean, I know that it's a little,
That's right next door. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not included in it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's on the same side of,
I
right by their home. Like you
believe so.
take the little pathway from there going down.
Well, that's part of the trail system that exists.
You're right.
Not exactly, but all right, so have we voted on it? No, we haven't. We got, is there any other comment or question from the members of the committee or anyone else? Okay, then all in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, then this was also passed. And that is actually the end of our agenda for this day. Any members of the committee have any other thoughts about anything you want to bring up? Or we adjourn the meeting? Okay. Okay, then I will call the meeting adjourned. And
Motion to adjourn.
been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, the meeting of the Environmental Committee is adjourned. Thank you all for being here. Hi, how are you? Good to see you too. Good, good, thank you. Everything good at home? Everything good?
Yes.
That's the main thing. Everybody should be healthy, right? Yeah, who's that? Alden? Hi, you snuck in. I didn't see you.
You get my text?
Yes, I have to go down and pack it. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I was in a hearing at the library and all that. And we went to one function, remember? Their house.
Right, sir?
Oh, God, it's.
I can't remember which of the many things that we've gone to.
I know. Pomona, I remember the place I went.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Right
don't,
from Tony? It's that house or the library and all that place we went to in Pomona.
Right. Yeah,
function.
But I think that's the building I was thinking of, but it wasn't their home, but they
Yeah.
are actually right across the street
Yeah.
from that.
yeah,
yes.
they're across the street.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
the other building that you alluded to is, right on 45.
Yeah.
And if you come out of the house and walk the back way up
Mhm.
towards 45, the pathway, and there's a building there too.
Yeah, yeah. And very convenient for the farm stand, for the
You
farm.
know,
Isn't that across the farms there also?
Yeah.
It's right across, I've forgotten the name of that road that goes that way, but it's right on the other side of the
Of the
road.
farm.
Yeah.
Dr.
So-
Gordon wanted us to.
Yeah. Hello, good, thank
Yeah,
you.
So, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Nice to see you, thank you,
Harry,
thank you.
Dr. Gordon wanted us to take over the, and, it's the fraternity, and his fraternity was Omega Psi Phi, that's us.
Uh-huh.
He asked us a few times, but it was such a major undertaking.
Yeah.
You would need somebody that's retired to oversee everything, and the electric and maintenance of just utilities.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 50,000 a year, and then you had other expenses. So, a big project.
Oh, yeah.
Someone would have to be retired, and just, dedicated to that.
Right, yeah.
No one wanted to step up. He asked all the Greek is non,
Mhm.
started with us. The name was his first.
Uh,
He's been a member, one of the oldest members. He was 100 years old, like he said last year, and we celebrated. And we would have this year, but COVID stuff. So, but he, the Gordon is so, he's such an intellectual. He was a tutor. W.E. Du Bois,
Mhm.
one of his friends. And to this day, I read stuff from W.E. Du Bois. It takes me 2 or 3 days to, to figure it out, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's just that,
Well, I remember years ago when I was starting this wonderful thing, the 21st Century Schools in Rockland,
mhm.
and learned about Dr. Gordon and how he had been involved with, the national,
Right, but President Clinton, he,
yes, right, and the wonderful things that they did. So, I mean, I just was in awe of him because,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's,
just a couple of beautiful people,
yes.
and they did a lot.
And I know their
he wrote the
daughters, yeah.
Early childhood
Mhm.
education.
Yeah.
For President Clinton.
Yeah.
I don't know. We wanted to celebrate him this year. Got to do it from a distance.
Oh.
Because with COVID, he's really,
Oh, yes, I know.
and he's still cautious. I remember he, W.E. Du Bois, died in Brooklyn. W.E. Du Bois used to stretch his mind out.
Yeah.
Dr. Gordon. He asked him, what's more important? And he didn't, go into it, but those are the kind of questions he would
Right, right.
pose. Open your mind.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
And on not the same topic, but related, do you know the man who I think came from Rockland? And I think he's got a sister who may be a teacher in the grammar school system, but in any event, he is in Manhattan and involved in schools.
Mhm.
I can't remember his name. I was actually going to
His
ask.
sister's a teacher.
I think
What
he
does he do?
Well, I think he was, right now, he is the superintendent of all the schools in the
Oh,
city of New York.
oh, I know who you talked about. David, what's his last name? David.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's the superintendent of my cousin, Pitt, Derek Adams Pitt.
oh,
David, he'll come to.
well, yeah, there's no big rush on it, but I have a daughter who has a son. They live in Brooklyn,
Mhm.
and he just turned 12. So I guess maybe in 2 years, she has to find for him another school. It's in a public school, which he has enjoyed,
Hmm.
but apparently the parents have the choice that they can take when the child ages out of that particular school or another, or however long it goes. I don't know, maybe it goes to high school. But they have a choice of picking out a school in Brooklyn or New York City or wherever,
Right.
which is a huge task.
Uh-huh.
So I was just I've been thinking of Ed as somebody who, maybe he could suggest, or I could talk to this man that neither one of us can quite remember his full name, but
Oh, yeah. I see it right here. I'll give it to you 1 second. Yeah.
in fact, he was on the front page in an article on the front page of the New York Times about 2 weeks ago.
New York City's under the school. David Banks.
David Banks. I
Chancellor.
remembered meeting him a number of years ago in the city, and
He's been up this way. Spoke a few times. I think my Omega group had him up. So
well, I thought if anybody could advise me and my daughter about how you go about finding the best kind of
you know
school
what?
for your
My
child.
daughter is. Nicole.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll-
we have a little time, as I say, because he's just in ninth, he's in what? Yes, he's,
Give me a call, 'cause my daughter's
okay,
in the classroom. She's- so
right,
she went,
okay, great,
okay, there you
wonderful.
go.
Yeah, that was easy, thank you.
Right? You got my number.
Oh, if not, I'll get it,
Okay,
yeah, thank you.
it's the one I called you.
Okay. Ay, ay, ay.
With David? No, just text it. I sent what he texted back. He had car trouble, and he was in his garage, something.
Next meeting on. What is the next meeting that comes up here? Public safety, and then what? Dear. I'm on BNF. Gosh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Public Safety. Roll call, please, Ali.
Legislator Foley, Legislator Santulli, Legislator Soskin, Legislator Hood Jr., Legislator Cornell,
Here.
Committee Vice Chair Legislator Paul, Committee Chair Legislator Earl.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ali. Adoption of our October 12th meeting. Moved by Legislator Hall, second by Legislator Foley. On the question on the minutes. On the question. All in favor? All opposed? Minutes approved. Referral number 5327, approving acceptance of a continuation grant from the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services in the amount of 5,000 no county tax dollars for the gun involved violence elimination give initiative, for the period from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, and authorizing the execution of all necessary grant documents by the county executive. Also move, second by Legislator Foley. On the question, is anyone here from the Sheriff Department? He did confirm that he was coming, sir. Okay. Did I see, Council Powers, are you familiar with this? It's unusual,
Yeah,
usually.
maybe, but let me look.
It's unusual, usually sheriff is here. Oh, he's
Just,
coming in.
Just so you know, when it
Okay.
comes, just
All
for
right.
oh, here it is. Oh, there, see?
Okay.
Oh, see, he saved me. All right.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're out, you're on, yeah.
Come to this mic, please. Sheriff Falco?
Sheriff, this was a continuation grant from New York State Division of Criminal Justice Service in the amount of $5,000. The gun involved violence elimination, the GIVE program. You just want to enlighten us a little bit?
Yes, every year I co-sign, because the Village of Spring Valley doesn't qualify. I sign for a gun violence grant for them.
Right.
And in addition, they give us an additional $5,000. And so we go out and what we call a blue-gray. We also involve the state police, and we go out and attack gun violence in the Village of Spring Valley and talk to the youth and also make gun arrests and stuff like that.
Okay.
So this grant is our 5,000, but they've already gotten, I think, another 25,000 for the Village of Spring Valley.
Wow, that's my village. We're the only ones that receiving this?
Yes,
That's
so
good.
they're the only ones that wanted to partner or wanted to go after it. And as the sheriff of the county, I'm the only one that could sign off on it in conjunction with the county exec's office. So we've been partnering with them for over 10 years doing it.
10 years, oh, okay, thank you. Any other?
May
Let's
I ask
go.
you a question? Sheriff, I have one question. When we're talking about the gun-involved violence, Did we have that gun take back in our?
Yes, we
Yes,
did.
yes, we just did a gun take back in the village of Spring Valley. I think it was August 24th when we did it. And we received 59 guns as a turn-in that day. And we're in the process of scheduling another one with the the town of Haverstraw Police Department, but it'll probably be in the village of Haverstraw where so we've targeted 3 areas in the county, which is our higher gun violence areas. One is Spring Valley is number 1, Haverstraw is number 2, and the village of Nyack is number 3. And when we go to the village of Nyack, we will join with the Attorney General's office, the state police, and the town of Orangetown Police Department. So we are actively doing that with the monies that were allotted to us from this legislature and from the county executive in the budget.
Thank you. I have one more question. Do you have about the number of gun violence involved cases in?
Do I know what they are?
How many cases?
Yeah, we're well over 100 this year. We were well over 100 last year. And we are going after it aggressively through our intel centers and things along those lines to attack the problem. As you know, I think over the weekend, there was a shooting in the village of Haverstraw where 2 young people were shot. Last weekend, we had a case where somebody came and shot up an apartment in the village of Spring Valley. Thank God, nobody was hit, but there was over 28 rounds fired into an apartment. So these things are ongoing. So this is all spread and come this way from New York City. And I work side by side with the other chiefs of police, and we talked about this on a daily basis, an everyday basis, and we're tracking all of this gun violence through our intel center up in Pomona.
Thank you so much. I have one more question, if you don't mind. The age of the violence, the gun violence, problems. Can we track and see any education matters? We can help them to prevent this, something like that related to any preventive measures, what we can do here?
Well, it's the answer to the question is very difficult because it's not people that are in school that we have direct contact. It's people after school that are either in gangs or have grudges or whatever the case may be, or it's just people trying to make money selling guns. As a matter of fact, the Attorney General's office just did a gun buyback in Albany. And the way they worded their gun buyback, somebody went in with one of those 3D printers and made all kinds of gun parts and made $21,000 from the Attorney General's office. And because there was no disclaimer, they had to pay it. Well, listen, we learned from that. We didn't have a disclaimer in ours either, but moving forward, we will. But they're making parts off of these 3D printers right now. And when we do our search warrants and stuff, we're also asking about the 3D printers, especially what I explained to you the other day about the ERPOs. Same thing, being able to confiscate that stuff to take these guns and the availability to make these guns off the streets.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Lastly, Sheriff, you said that you are tracking these incidents.
Yes.
For action item, could you enlighten us?
Yeah, we're tracking it from 2 different aspects. We're tracking it from gun arrests versus actual shots fired or somebody hit or homicides in Rockland County. So we're tracking it in 2 different areas. The number I gave you of over 100 is a culmination between both of the trackings. Okay, but I think in Rockland County this year so far, between the sheriff's office and all the police departments, we've made over 69 gun arrests, taking guns off the streets. And I believe there's been 29 or 39 incidents of actual shots fired or homicides in Rockland County. Not 39 homicides. In other words, that resulted in death. But shots fired, there's been like 29 or 39. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but those are the numbers. It's well over 100 between the both.
As an action item, can you get us the data for maybe, can you share that with us?
I can just share bare numbers with you. I can't
Numbers,
share
that's what I'm saying.
addresses. I can't share
No,
names.
No,
So I can give
understand
you,
that.
I can give you raw numbers on the amount, but I
Right.
can't share the other data with you.
That's what I was alluding to.
Yeah, I can do that. If you
Okay.
have somebody send me, so I'll share that data with you as far as numbers go.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. It's been properly moved. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Referral number 2, 9361A, approving the acceptance of a grant in the amount of $258,976, no county tax dollars, from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, State Homeland Security Program, grant number WM 22190169, for the period of September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2025, and authorizing the execution of all necessary grant documents by the county executive. I'll move it. Second by Legislator Santulli and Paul. On the question? Sure.
Sure. So this grant is a grant that we've been receiving for some amount of time. I also shared this grant money with Fire and Emergency Services and EMS. They get portions of it so they can buy equipment for the fire departments, and they can buy EMS equipment in reference to counterterrorism measures. That grant has been very successful, and our sharing process there has been well received and appreciated by the fire service and by EMS.
It says here, the total amount is $258,976. That's over the whole period to 2025, right?
Right.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other questions on this? Okay. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried. Item number 3, referral number 9361B, approving acceptance of a grant in the amount of $376,931, no county's tax dollars, from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services for the Law Enforcement Terrorism Prevention Program. Grant number WM 22190170 for the period from September 1st, 2022 through August 31st, 2025, and authorizing the execution of all necessary grant documents by the county executive. Also move. Second by
Seconded.
Legislator Foley and Cornell, sorry, and Paul. We all want to second that? Okay. On the question?
Sure. So this is, I have to give Legislator Cornell a lot of credit here. This was first started by Sheriff Kralik. This money was what he used, in other words, in its infancy stages, when she had her committees running on counterterrorism and stuff, and she used to hold meetings. This money was used to start up our REACT team and also help offset the other police agencies that had SWAT teams in order to harden Rockland County for counterterrorism. So till today, we received this grant funding, and I still share this grant funding with all the police agencies in Rockland County to help offset their overtime costs and stuff for training in reference to counterterrorism and SWAT. And also buy additional equipment to keep up with the times. In other words, like high density bulletproof vests and stuff for the officers that are on the SWAT teams, stuff like that. So this was initiated by Sheriff Kralik in conjunction with Harriet Cornell years ago, and I just carried it on. And again, it's very successful, and it helps offset, again, overtime and equipment for all the police agencies, including the sheriff's office in Rockland County.
Okay, thanks. You said you should, go ahead, Legislator Cornell.
I'd be happy to sponsor it.
Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, you said that you share this with the other,
All the other police agencies, yes.
is that equally shared or?
Not equally shared. It's shared based on what they have. So in other words, the Village of Piermont only has one police officer assigned to the REACT team.
Mhm.
So we offset a portion of their overtime and buy equipment for them. where the sheriff's office has 7 people, where the Ramapo Police Department has 6 people. So we do it on a pro rata basis to offset what they actually contribute in either manpower or equipment that they might need during the course of the year. And then again, if there's any substantial big pieces of equipment that we need for the team, we will utilize that to purchase it. That would impact, again, all the police agencies because we're all part, except for Clarkstown, is all part of the same REACT team. But we do give Clarkstown a portion of the money to backfill their overtime for training.
You said Ramapo have 6?
Ramapo just came back into the fold and they have 6, yes.
6, okay, great. Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Legislator, we all want to sponsor this? We all want to sponsor this, okay. Okay, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carried, unanimous. Thank you, Sheriff.
You're welcome.
This brings us to our last item, number 4, referral number 4249, approving purchases in excess of $100,000 in a total contract amount not to exceed $2,319,772.21 by the formal purchase order under the New York State Office of the General Services Contract number PC 69032 to purchase and install license plate readers and related licensing through Celex ES Inc. For the term from June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2025. I'll move it. Second by Legislator Cornell. Okay. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening, Harry.
Hi.
The sheriff's here, can speak on this as well. This is purchased off a New York State contract with Celex for license plate readers. We are purchasing off the state contract because we need this particular manufacturer because it has to integrate with all the current license plate readers we have in system. And the purpose of this particular program is that they're going to be placing these cameras on all the roads that enter and exit Rockland County. So that way, in terms of law enforcement, if you want to speak on it, they'll be able to, if an event happens and they're looking for someone that's trying to leave Rockland County, these cameras will capture the license plate.
Okay. Yes, thanks, Sheriff.
So if I may, this concept came to me after the machete attack in Ramapo that evening. Some of our cars captured some partial license plates. We contacted, we have what they call LSAG. We contacted New York City, who also has LSAG. They put the plate in their car and they ended up capturing that person about 2 hours later in the middle of Manhattan. I then went to county executive and we've already had this approved before this body. It's all for all the ingress and egress points in Rockland County. And it's going to help us also deal with, as everybody knows, we have burglars and stuff coming from outside the county and leaving. The car thefts, the high-end car thefts in Rockland County coming here, they're coming here and then they're going back to the Port of Newark and Elizabeth. They're stealing the catalytic converters out of vehicles. I'm sure you've been hearing that all over the place. Those people are not from Rockland County. They're coming in the middle of the night and stealing that. So we'll be able to step up our law enforcement, process through the utilization of these plate readers, which will be shared. It'll be overseen by the sheriff's office, but it'll be shared with every police agency in Rockland County. We've already started this process. Before this happened, between all the police agencies, we had like 39 plate readers. That's what my conversation was with Paul. Instead of changing over, because then we would have to replace all of that existing equipment. The other big thing that we're going to use the plate readers for, and they're already up and running, is the St. Patrick's Day Parade, where we get swells of people into Rockland County on that given day, and God forbid, we have a traumatic event that day, we'll be able to track things. So this is a law enforcement tool that'll help us keep the people in Rockland County safe across all divisions, across all lines.
Yeah, I remember how quick the incident in Rockland, how quick the suspect was captured. And because of the readers, the license plate readers.
The only one other thing I want to point out, Amber Alerts. When people are abducting people or leaving with their children and stuff against, against the wishes of the court and the other parent, this will also help us with Amber Alerts.
Okay, great. Okay. Legislator Paul.
Thank you, Chair. Where do you install this reader?
Well, we worked with planning and Doug Schutz and all his staff, and we identified all the ingress and egress points of Rockland County, all the boundaries from the north end, from Tompkins Cove, all the way down to the south end, to the west end. We don't have to do anything on the east because we're on the river. We identified every road that actually exits Rockland County or enters Rockland County. Now my people are in the process, thereafter tonight, they're in the process of working with Orange and Rockland and identifying telephone poles or areas by which we can then install them. So then that data can all be drafted back and put into the system.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Any other questions? Okay. Legislator Cornell.
How are you?
Good. How are you, Karen?
Thank you. So, Veolia, is that now Orange and Rockland?
What'd you say, Viola?
Veolia that has.
No, that's the water company, right?
Water.
That's the water company.
Okay, so Orange and Rockland is still in business as Orange and Rockland?
Yes. Or Con Ed. I think they're a subsidy of Con Ed, but yes.
I had the impression that Veolia was taking charge of a whole range of issues other than water.
No, they're just doing the water. They're not, as I know it, when I work with Tom Brizzolero and the upper echelon of Orange and Rockland on these issues and many others, there's been no mention of Veolia being part and parcel of Orange and Rockland as I know it.
I was just curious about it because when Veolia first announced that they were taking over Orange and Rockland, they also talked about taking over a lot more than that. So I just wondered.
But there's been no communication. I've been dealing directly with the people from Orange and Rockland.
Thank you.
All right. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried unanimous. We all want to sponsor this?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we all would like to. Thank you, Sheriff.
Any idea what the next meeting?
Services at 6:30.
Service next.
Yeah,
4 minutes.
well, the thing is, I'm on the last committee at the end of this,
enough?
yeah. No, I'm okay. Yeah,
Do you let me know?
okay, I will. Thank you. Urgent finance. We just did that.
I was studying that. Yeah, but the one thing. I don't get told for the. Say All of them? No, no. The original. I thought they, I don't know. Barn. Okay, okay, thank you. No, no, he's walking. Yeah.
The amount of paper that we use is so awful. It's so awful. There's just so much stuff here.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Multi-Service Committee to order. I'll ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Antonio. Lisata Dawood. Lisata Annie Paul.
Here.
Lisata Aaron Witter. Lisata Tower. Lisata McGowan. Sheriff Phillips Askin.
Here.
We have a call.
Thank you.
Also, Legislator Cornell is a guest.
Yes, I'll put you on.
We'll start with the 8203, confirming the appointment of Joshua Connect the New City, New York, to the Rockland County Board of Ethics. I'll move it, seconded by Legislator Paul.
Okay.
Is the gentleman here? You want to just come up and just very briefly tell us about yourself?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank the county executive for nominating me to the Ethics Board and the committee for considering my nomination this evening. I am honored and humbled by this opportunity. The public is entitled to insist on the integrity of its elected officials and civil servants, and those who violate the public's trust must face consequences. If confirmed, I will do my best to ensure that the people of Rockland County can continue to have faith in the integrity of their local government. I promise that I will discharge my responsibilities without fear or favor and with the integrity that I expect of others. I am a resident of New City. I grew up in Rockland County, then moved here in 1990, lived in Valley Cottage, went to St. Paul's School in Valley Cottage, then to Albertus Magnus High School. I went to college in Washington, D.C., law school in Washington, D.C., and then I worked for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission for 8 years, 4 years as an attorney in the general counsel's office, and then 4 years for a commissioner who was appointed by President Obama and confirmed by the Senate. When I had children, started to have children, I came back to Rockland County and moved to Congers, sent my children back to St. Paul's, and then prior to the pandemic, they were going to St. Margaret's in Pearl River, where me and my family are parishioners. And when the pandemic came, we began to homeschool the kids, and we have continued to do that with great surprise with how well it's working out. And I think right now I work for the Consolidated Edison Company of New York as an associate general counsel. And my primary responsibility is to represent the company in proceedings before the New York State Public Service Commission, although I do occasionally appear and represent the company before my old agency, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission.
Thank you. That's quite a resume you have there. Anybody would like to say anything?
I really appreciate, I see all your experience and education. It is very valuable, and it's really an asset to our county. And I thank you for your service. Congratulations for this position.
Thank you very much.
Legislator Earl?
Thank you for accepting this position. Mr. Konecki, did I pronounce it right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Else? Legislator Jobson?
I just want to thank you for willing to serve the community. You got a one heck of a resume there. You know how government works already if you were in DC, and even though you work for Con Ed, I'm going to support you anyway.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I would like to thank you for offering your services. Legislator Weeder.
In your resume, you mentioned that since from July 2010 to April 2014, legal advisor to Honorable Cheryl Lafleur.
LaFleur. Yes, Cheryl LaFleur, yes.
Who's that?
Well, so the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission is organized like the Securities and Exchange Commission, meaning that there are a handful of federal government agencies that have 5-member commissions that govern them rather than secretary. So the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, although it sits within the Department of Energy, is an independent agency that is governed by these 5 commissioners, which means that the president appoints the commissioners and they are confirmed by the Senate, but then they can only be removed for cause. So the idea there was to give a degree of political independence. Of course, you know, the president has to make the appointment, but he can only remove them for cause. Commissioner LaFleur, she was, prior to serving in the commission, she was the general counsel and then acting CEO of the National Grid Electric Corporation in Massachusetts. They are a multi-state corporation, but primarily Massachusetts. She was appointed by President Obama to the position, confirmed by the Senate. And then what happens typically is the commissioners, they have a legal staff, their own. So the commission, the way it's organized, it has a general counsel, and the general counsel's office has about, you can't call me, between 100 and 200 attorneys, let's say. And then the chairman is the administrative head of the agency, but each commissioner has his or her own personal staff, which they can hire from within the agency or they may hire from their outside. I was hired from within the agency, so when Commissioner LaFleur was nominated, she hired me as one of her legal advisors. And currently she's the chairman of the board for the New England Independent Grid Operator, which is known as ISO New England.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes, thank you.
Legislator Cornell.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for your willingness to serve in Rockland County, and your background is extremely impressive, and we wish you a great deal of luck. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay. Again, I would like to thank you for volunteering for this position. I would just like to remind you that this is a very sensitive position on a local level. And independence is a very important thing. And just keep that in mind, that you're responsible not only to the county executive, but to the legislature. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous. Thanks again.
Thank you.
The next thing I'd like to do is the adoption of the minutes of the October 12th, 22 meeting. Moved by legislator Earl, seconded by legislator Paul. Any corrections? Any additions? Is anybody on the screen who is on the committee? No. Okay. Hearing nothing. All in favor of adopting the minutes? Anybody opposed? Unanimous. I just ask everybody for a favor. When you're speaking, speak into the mic. Referral number 5726, confirming the appointment of Stacy Alessio of Garnerville, New York, to the Rockland County Historic Preservation Board. I'll move the nomination, seconded by legislator Earl. Legislator Paul. On the question? Mr. Alessio, you want to just come up and very briefly tell us, I'm sorry, about yourself? Hold the mic down. Yeah. Better, yeah. Anybody like to say anything? Legislator Earl, then Legislator Paul.
Okay, I hope I get your last name right here. Miss Alessio? Okay, thanks for accepting this position. And look like you're well qualified for it. And best of luck and blessings with it.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Oh, I've read, I was reading your bio, all this resume here. So many qualifications, so many experiences that you are a great person here. It's an asset to our county and really thank you for your time to serve and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Anybody else?
Multi-talented.
I'd like to thank you for accepting this position. We need artistic people in this area. Okay, you fit the bill. So
Thank
good
you
luck
so
to
much.
you. Okay,
Thank you.
all in favor? Anybody opposed? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
On all appointees, your name will appear before the next full session of the legislature. However, you don't have to come down if you don't want to. Referral number 9263, approving the acceptance of a continuation grant in the amount of $44,948 from the New York State Office of Children and Family Services to the Rockland County Department of Social Services for participation in the supervision and treatment services for juvenile program for the period of October 1, 22 through September 30th, 23, with a local share of $27,549. I'll move this, seconded by Legislator McGowan. On the question? Any you want to, Legislator Paul? You want to speak? Okay. Yeah, okay. Ed has a second. Okay. Someone here from the Department of Health.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. John Fella from Rockland County Department of Social Services. This is a continuation of a grant from the Office of Children and Family Services to assist youth to prevent them from going into detention, to avoid confinement, and to reduce juvenilism. It's, as you said, it is a payment of $44,948 with a local share of $27,549. This has been allocated in the Department of Social Services budget.
I'm going to ask you a leading question. Is this enough?
Is this enough?
funds for what we have to do.
We're going to make the most, we're going to make the most of it. It's a challenge here and it does help. There's also other funding sources. And our department always tries to maximize income to help the youth of our
Right.
county.
This is to help our employees learn how to supervise better the organizations that they oversee.
It enables our DSS employees to work with agencies that help youth, such as tutoring. We have a tutoring program that we arrange tutoring for children who may be juvenile delinquents. There is a lot of communication as to how we can help our youth avoid criminal action.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
Anybody opposed? Unanimous. Referral number 8894. Approving 15 agreements, each of which is expected to be in excess of $100,000 with the providers listed on the next Schedule A to provide special education services in the preschool program in a total amount not to exceed $26,080,000 for the period from July 1, 22 through June 30th, 23. I'll move this, seconded by Legislator Cornell.
Not on your committee.
Oh, she's not in the committee.
I'd be happy
Okay,
to. but I'm not-
Legislator Walt. Okay.
Good evening. Donna Bogan from Child Program Coordinator. We are currently serving 1,101 students as of today in the 6 preschool programs that are listed on this sheet, as well as the 6 agencies that are listed. And there are several others whose contracts have not been finalized yet in order to provide both in center-based and related services to children across the entire county, in whether they're in our group developmental programs or in their own typical preschools.
One question I have is, what age group are you dealing with?
This is for our 3 to 5 population. So this is before kindergarten.
3 to 5?
Yes.
And does this take them out of the area?
I'm sorry?
Does this take them, the children, out of the area?
No, right now, all the children are being serviced within Rockland County.
Or Rockland County? Okay, anybody have any questions? Legislator Paul.
I have a very simple question. I want to see that the preschool program, you said, is in the school, you have assigned schools or home training or a group of? What?
There are 6 schools located in Rockland County where the children are bused through Rockland County to the programs, and the remainder of the children are either educated in their typical preschools, daycares, and for those medically fragile children, we will go into their homes.
Oh, all different types. So the home care, home based also. Oh, that's very nice because as a pediatric nurse practitioner, we always refer to you guys. So I know you guys take care of them well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Unanimous. Thank you so much for coming down. We will proceed. Item. Referral number 9535, approving additional purchases in excess of $100,000 by formal purchase order in the additional amount of $35,000 for the total amount not to exceed $118,676.26 from International Code Council Incorporated to provide on-demand plan review services via an online portal for the County of Rockland Office of Buildings and Codes on behalf of the Village of Spring Valley for the term from May 22 through December 31, 22. Legislator Earl passes it, and Legislator Weir seconds it. Paul Brennan,
Yep.
you want to just tell us about this?
Sure. This is a contract for third-party review of building plans that are submitted by applicants that want to either build new buildings or renovate buildings. It's for the Office of Buildings and Codes for the work they're doing for the Village of Spring Valley. This contract was necessary when we first started, based upon staffing, and you don't know how many requests you're going to get for new building reviews. So we had this company under contract to handle overflow, or when they didn't have the staff to do it internally, they can use this outside company for the building plan review. Mr. Markounis is here from Office of Building and Codes if you have any questions. It is anticipated we will need to go over $100,000 by the end of the year. That's why we're down here today getting approval for that. We also are in the process of issuing an RFP for these services going forward, because we recently identified another company that provides these third-party plan reviews. And the applicants pay the fees for the building plan reviews. This is all for code compliance for new building plans or renovations.
Okay. 118,676.26.
That's what's anticipated to be spent through the end of the year.
We've already spent
We
that
haven't
money?
spent that, we haven't spent that yet. That's what's anticipated through the end of the year.
What is the source of these funds?
Excuse me?
The source of these funds is this the organization?
Well, they're currently, the money's budgeted in the Office of Building and Codes to pay for it, but the money gets reimbursed to the county because the applicant pays the fee for the building plan review.
In other words, this money is coming in from penalties or additional charges or
The money comes from the applicants,
from the applicants?
okay, that are submitting for building plan review. Well, they have to pay the fee to have the building plan, the view completed.
And how is the, how are things proceeding for, the takeover by the Village of Spring Valley of the, of this function? Once the period ends that, this calls for, it was supposed to be done by there was a sunset date?
I can't answer any questions about the operation of the department. Mr. Markounis can answer, those questions. I'm here for the contract and know all the details of the contract.
How are you, Mr. Marcus?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the state order expires February 14th of 2024.
And where's this money coming, which we've already spent, you say? Where is it coming from?
Yes, so what happens is that the applicant on new building construction submits an application along with associated plans. Those plans are developed, and then we send out those plans to a third-party reviewer. The cost of the review is passed on to the applicant, and the applicant pays for the review.
Let's see. And in 2024, will this enable, in 2024, will this enable the Village of Spring Valley to utilize the same procedures? And will you have set up staff for them to carry on once the jurisdiction ends?
Once that decision is made, that will rest up with the Village of Spring Valley, the administration of the Village of Spring Valley, on how they would like to have plans reviewed for construction.
Anybody have any questions? Hearing none, I thank you very much. Okay, you're doing a good job. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Unanimous. Thank you both for coming down. And now we have referral number 9209. It's a discussion item. Review required certification of calendar year 2021 election expenses. Is anybody here from the Board of Elections? Anybody here from the Board of Elections? Hi, Commissioners. I knew you never let us down.
No, we wouldn't.
Okay, you want to just, I know every year you present us with a certificate and it deals with how the expenses are allocated between the county and the various communities where the voting is taking place. You just want to very briefly go over that?
This is based on what we spend on the actual expenses that go into the poll sites, the moving of the machines, the ballots. And it goes on a percentage of how many registered voters are in each town. And they share in the full expense of all those expenses.
See. How does this compare to prior year, to last year?
Year before, it was a presidential election. This is much lower.
Was what?
This is a lot lower. The year
It's a lot
before,
lower.
2020, was a presidential year.
I see. And we're listening able,
56. 2019 was 1,025,000.
it's going down,
And this one is
Charged
806,
back
yeah.
to the town.
towns. Okay. Anybody have any questions? And by the way, the reports are attached. So I thank you very much for that.
No.
Legislator Earl.
This is not a question, while we're on this topic. I know, we had to make new changes, commissioners. We also, and there was a extra vote, voting that you had to, that you incurred. Is that, was, yeah, this year, the election, I mean, yeah. Okay, so I guess, what I'm trying to say, put a little hole in your budget this year? It did? Okay, I thought so. All right, while we're on this, I've received numerous calls from some of the poll workers, whereas they're not in line with the other counties as far as what the salaries they get for that day. And so we have to fix that, because I know it's very difficult and very hard for you to get workers to fill that long, tedious day. So will you be coming before the legislature or with a proposal for that?
Yes.
I would like to see it, because I got one of your poll workers, she called me every month on this. And so I'm going to go back to her and report what you just said, that you will be bringing us something so that, because, it's, if you look at surrounding counties, what they're getting and what we're paying our workers, we need to, move up to the 20th century with that. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Any other questions? Commissioners, I thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Make sure everybody who's supposed to be elected is elected. That completes the report of the Multi-Service Committee. Anybody have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Hearing none, all in favor of ending the committee meeting? Anybody? Yeah, second. All right. All in favor? The committee meeting is adjourned. Okay, apologize for being a little late, but wasn't feeling well. That's why I'm wearing the mask tonight.
My turn?
Is it my turn? Evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's Planning and Public Works Committee meeting. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Legislator Jobson. Legislator Jobson. Legislator Carey.
Would everybody like to?
Legislator Paul. Legislator Wolf. Legislator Weider. Vice Chair, Legislator Grant. I see you. Chairman, Legislator Yeager.
I'm here. We have a quorum? Full house? Oh, okay. I think that's better than a straight. Whatever. Anyway, just from the last meeting, everybody want to sponsor from that committee the items on the multi-services committee? Sounds like a yes. All right, good. All right, just please take a minute to review our agenda. It isn't very lengthy. And then we're going to move everything as one, if there are no questions. Give everybody a minute to review. Are there any questions from anyone on the committee on any of these items? Any other legislators present tonight? Seeing none, I'll move all of them. Seconded by Legislator Carey. On the questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried unanimously. Motion to adjourn by Legislator Carey. Oh, minutes? Oh, well, can't go without adopting the minutes. Adopting the minutes of 10/12/20, no? Sorry, what? Yeah, 10/12? 10/12/22, sorry. Moved by Legislator Jobson, seconded by Legislator Carey. Any changes, deletions, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. Carried unanimously. Motion to adjourn by Legislator Jobson, seconded by myself. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Yes.
I have an ID there.
Beautiful experiences. To my telephone. Okay. I went to look something up in my contacts. I get this. Like everything was cleared. I didn't remember.
Sir, what's the number? What do you want, whose number you want to check? It's
My wife, let's see,
What's you,
John Soska.
John?
SOSKIN.
Yeah, it's here. Just type the name.
Because, in other words, if I'm looking for I'm not always sure of the name.
Yeah, just
So
check.
I always used to have a list.
I know, but sometimes this is here, see, usually comes this way. But if you're signing in, you get to get, well, who else you want it? Maybe something is,
It's in here, but
look, which number you want, anything with the T. Okay, see, all the names are there.
yeah,
Only thing is you have to type it in.
yeah.
Something is,
Because I
Yeah.
had everything in there.
right, it's still there. Only thing, something, you haven't.
I must have hid something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know either. But
For a day, huh?
Yeah.
Uh,
You don't have to spend 6 hours on legislative stuff, but today was that day.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Yeah, cluster from the beginning. We know where it's from.
Give up.
And 10:30. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the. Anything on the agenda tonight regarding the redistricting? Anything on the agenda tonight, redistricting?
no,
Is budget and finance fixed? Yes. When was that one good?
You seemed okay with that.
I'm on that committee, so I knew I had to wait through a lot of others.
Golden wasn't there.
Budget finance.
Bill.
look like adoption of minutes. This is not the bad. This is the mayor. And it's
Huh?
Hello?
Oh. It is on, but the light wasn't on.
Did you give away state secrets?
Nothing too much. Nothing anybody cares about.
It's a big one. Right?
And she just gave it to me.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to call the Budget and Finance Committee called for October 25, 2022 to order. I'll ask the clerk to do the roll call.
Legislator Jobson. Legislator Hopstein. Legislator Yeager. Legislator Soskin.
Here.
Legislator Hood Jr. Here. Legislator Earl. Legislator Cornell.
Here,
Second Vice Legislator Wolf. Vice Chair Legislator Grant. Chairman Legislator Weider.
I'm here.
Thank you very much. Adoption of minutes of our October 12th, 2022 meeting, moved by Second Vice Chair Wolf, seconded by Legislator Cornell. All those, any discussion? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye, opposed. In the eye of the chair, the motion carries unanimously. So I would like to go all the way down to item number 7.4. Item number 7.4, referral number 9323, a discussion item, which is a continued discussion item on updating the security in all county buildings and properties. We have here the Sheriff Falco, and we have Mr. Ruffy, who's also here. First, I would like to ask the sheriff, I know we had conversations about safety at county facilities a while back, and there were some suggestions. Some things were done, some things are in the process to get done. So if you could give us an update.
Sure. So go back to pre-pandemic. We were, after 2017, when the sheriff's office took over security, we put forth a bunch of modifications and concerns. And then, of course, thereafter, the pandemic hit. One of which, if you remember, we had the large crowds come here to the legislative meetings, and we had to do a cutoff of the number of people that could enter the building. And at that time, it was identified by myself and the county executive and this body and Mr. Gruffy that the front doors, as an example, need to be replaced because they don't meet fire code. You have to have a push-out bar to get out of the building in order to lock the doors, which means if we have to close down the building in any way, shape, or form, we have to do it with all manpower-intensive stuff as opposed to being able to do a cutoff and not allow more than, if you notice, there's signs that are posted after that last incident of 220 people in the building, and then there's only X amount allowed out there as one of the items. I have been working with Mr. Gruffy on it, and I believe he's in the process of drawing up an RFP to bring in an architect to redesign the front doors, which are, I believe, the original front doors from the building from 1959 or whenever the building was built. That, along with cameras in certain places, not only in this building, in the health complex. So we're working on all of those issues and items moving forward. I have been in touch with you, and I have had conversation with the executive's office in reference to stepping it up. Mr. Gruffy tells me, I believe that there's money that was put into security issues for the county that he controls in his budget. So therefore, we're going to start moving the process forward. That being said, go ahead.
No, some of the cameras are already installed, no?
Some cameras, but we need many more cameras in certain places, such as even the county parks. We're doing a whole project where all the county parks will be there will be cameras put in the county parks, so we can view them from the sheriff's office and from the two communication centers on county property for any incidents that occur. Even lawsuits, as an example. If somebody claims they fell off of, one of the swings or something up at Haverstraw Bay Park, we'd be able to identify that. So we're working on identifying all of those cameras for all the county parks so we can bring everything up to speed in a security manner. If I could, I'll let Mr. Gruffy speak.
On the county office building with the doors, we looked at the existing doors to see if we could retrofit them in a temporary fashion before we would be able to replace them. We've spoken to Schlage Locks, who are our official lock that we use throughout the county. The doors can't be modified because they are all glass. What we've been doing is maintaining them. We're still fixing broken parts on them right now. We are continuing with it. An RFP is almost ready to go out for architectural services to redesign the front entrance lobby doors, the side entrance doors on the west side here. We've got to pick something that is architecturally pleasing because it's going to translate further or transfer further to the rest of the building when we do the fenestation, which is all the windows. So everything has to match. So we're going to be doing the doors first, and then whatever program or system that we use, we want to make sure we could use it for the windows so that the building itself matches. As the sheriff indicated, we've been putting cameras in upon his instruction. We have many areas that are cambered now that we never had before. We're still continuing it. As far as security with locks on doors, any new locks that we're doing, we're in a progression right now of replacing specific building locks. We've put new locks. I'll give an example in Building G totally. We've done Building H totally. We've done some in Building A, being it's so big, but the ones that are important to do. We're going to transfer over to Building B very shortly. We are buying more locks specifically for this building to change its lock system. And it just takes time, but it's all within a very highly secured locking system.
But when do you estimate that the front door will be resolved?
Well, the RFP process, as soon as I hand it over to purchasing, will take normally about 2 to 3 months. By the time it's advertised, we get the RFP back, we evaluate it, then we award a contract. Then you'd need at least 4 months design time with an architect. So, and then once you have the plans, you got to go through the bidding process, which normally takes 8 to 10 weeks total bid, evaluate the bids, award the bid with a contract. You could be 9 months out unless we find ways where we can try to shorten that time frame. But it's normally like a 9-month process easily.
So by a year, will be safe to say that the building will be safe? Safe to
I
say
would
the
say
building
a
will be-
year would be where you'd be in construction or it would already be done. The front facade is a very difficult doorway. We pulled out the engineering and drawings, the structural drawings. It's not a simple installation and removal. Difficult.
I know the late Paul Peperato had mentioned something about security in his building.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Was anything done?
We are in the process right now of constructing the new counter design with the glass partition that the county clerk has agreed to. We're building that out right now. We figure it'll be about 3 months, 4 months total time to build it, but it will isolate all of our workers in one isolated area where there will not be direct public to employee contact.
And I'm sure there was input with the sheriff, right?
Yes, correct.
So by and large, you think things are moving?
Things are moving, but it's.
In a safe way.
Yeah, there's things that just happen that will delay you or will accelerate it. So,
Okay, appreciate it.
okay, thank you.
Sheriff, anything to add?
Again, I believe that at least he has the funding in place in order to accomplish this. It's a matter of being also able to get the supplies and again, the RFPs, after he gets them to purchasing, getting them out, which they're pretty proficient at that, so we can move this whole process along.
Good. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions? No? Okay, good. So, thanks, Bob. Thanks, Sheriff. We're now going to move to items number 7. 7-1, referral number 9531, appropriating the sum of $1,250 to Veterans of Foreign Affairs of the U.S. Clarkstown Memorial Post number 851, New City, New York, for patriotic services in 2022. Moved by legislator Hofstein, seconded by legislator Wolf. Any discussion? Seeing if there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item number 7-2, referral number 4723, providing for an increase in the minimum hourly wage for community services trainees, OFA, youth workers and student workers in accordance with New York State minimum wage increase effective December 31st, 2022. Moved by legislator Cornell, seconded by legislator Jobson. On the item, I'm sure it's self-explanatory. Okay. So this is what we need to do. We do it on a yearly basis. What will be the minimum wage this year? Eh, Any questions? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 7.3, referral number 9040, approving the second amendment, the second extension of the agreement, next of $100,000 additional amount of $40,000. A new total amount not to exceed $154,000 under RFP RC 2020-019. With Delco reporting in to provide court reporting transcription services for the various county departments on as needed basis for the term from November 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2023, with 1 year renewal option term remaining, authorizing the execution of the county executive. Move by legislator Earl, seconded by legislator Wolf. On the discussion, Mr. Brennan, this is the firm we typically use, and they provide services also for. Oh, okay. This is not the same firm that provides services for the legislature? Okay, good. Okay, and they've been providing services, the county been happy with them and everything? Okay, any questions? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. At this point, all the department heads can leave. I believe we covered everything, but I would like to ask, now, I'm going to ask everyone to turn their attention to the budget review process. No, we're going to do that after Nicole. Go through this very quickly. So, Nicole?
Could you give me some? Yeah. Is that this? This. That and that. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Ready?
Nicole, take it away.
Okay.
Oh,
So this evening, we're going to take a look at our tax revenues other than property tax as they are proposed in the 2023 budget and two of the larger trending pieces of the budget for retirement and health insurance. First of all, I'd just like to start out by saying that when we make a projection, it is our best guesstimate of what will take place in the future. We know what happened in the past. We can look at what's happened currently, and then we're going to try to use that information to come up with a best guess as to what the future will hold. It doesn't always work out perfectly. Things happen sometimes which we have no control over, especially when we're looking at those types of revenue that are very dependent upon our economy. And in some years, we've been right on target. Some years, we've missed the target. And some years, we've surpassed the target. So I just want to say that before going forward, I'm going to try to provide you with what I think is a best guess or a best projection of where we will end up in 2022 and whether or not what is put in the proposed budget for 2023 is in fact reasonable. So we're going to start with sales tax, which is the largest of our taxing revenues. In 2021, our total actual that we received was $261.6 million. That included what we call a $4 million accrual. That was additional money that was then accounted for in 2021. So 261.6 million. That was the actual. For 2022, our current budget is 240 million. And the 2023 proposed is 261 million. So the 2023 proposed is 9% higher than the 2022 budget. And the 2023 proposed is just slightly higher than what we actually received in 2021. So now let's take a look at where we are currently in 2022. We've had 3 quarters of 2022. 2022 sales tax is currently trending 7% higher compared to the 2021 actual. And how did I come up with that? So I looked and I compare quarter to quarter. I compared the first quarter of 2021 with the first quarter of 2022. It was 8% higher. The second quarter was 7% higher. And the third quarter is 6% higher. When you compare year-to-date through the third quarter of 2021 with 2022, it's 7% higher than 2021. So I'm going to use a conservative approach and say that overall, 2022 is going to end at 4% higher than 2021. All right, because if we look back historically, the fourth quarter always tends to be very strong. We have strong sales from the holidays. However, with some of the forecasts that have been coming out lately that we are going into a recession, it could mean people are going to spend less. We don't know. We can look into our crystal ball, but honestly, we don't know. So again, taking a conservative approach and saying that 2022 is going to end at only 4% higher than 2022, we would be looking at a $267 million revenue before any additional adjustments for an accrual. So what does that mean? If we look at 2023, that's proposed at 261, I would say that's pretty reasonable right now. It's reasonable. All right. But again, things could happen that are out of our control. Again, sales tax is dependent upon our economy. But I have to say, given the last couple of years, even in the pandemic, back in 2020, when we thought we were going to really tank, we only were behind by about 4 million, which is not a whole lot when you consider, a budget of over 200 million. Rockland County has shown itself to be quite resilient. So again, 2023 proposed seems very reasonable to me. If you turn the page on page 2, that's basically the detail of how I came up with this projection. It shows you every sales tax payment that comes in, which is approximately every other week, and then gets posted to our financials. I have them here. I then also adjust each quarter for residential energy tax because we count that as a separate revenue stream. So those are that's the raw data in case anyone wants to look into it further. That's pages 2 and 3. Next, mortgage tax. Let's look back, let's look present, and then we'll look forward. 2021 actual came in at 11.9 million, which is the highest amount of mortgage tax that we've ever received in the county from the time that we first put this tax into place. 2022, the budget is 9 million, and 2023 is proposed at 10 million. So 2023 is proposed at just slightly 1 million more than 2022 and 2 million less than what we actually received in 2021. So I was going to say, again, mortgage tax for 2021 was at an all-time high, with housing sales in the Hudson Valley skyrocketing in the wave of the pandemic. 2022 will not see the same kind of revenue as we did last year. So again, mortgage tax is based both on new home sales and on the refinancing, and also has what we would call a seasonal flow. So what I did in this case is, if we, using the fourth quarter receipts for the past 10 years and adding the 2022 year to date, the range of mortgage tax is anywhere between 7.7 and $10 million. And you see that if you turn the page, the next page on page 5, again, this is historically going back to 2012 all the way through 2021. And we see that for 2022, we're currently at 6.9 million year to date. One way to look at this is to take the average monthly receipt for the current year, which is about $763,000, and then project that out for the final 3 months. The 2022 projection is about $9.2 million compared to a $9 million budget. So 2023 is $10 million proposed, a little bit higher. I think we can make it. Reading the real estate section each week in the New York Times, we continue to see that there is a great demand for people who want to move out of the city and up into what they consider the country, or consider the country, although, I mean, we may not think so, but when you're living in a apartment somewhere in the city, this certainly seems like the country. 10 million could be a little high, but I'm not overly concerned because it's only $1 million, which is not a whole lot when you're looking at a or actually at this point, an $800 million budget. So that's mortgage tax. Our smallest little revenue, which is the hotel motel revenue, 2022 is currently trending at $113,000 per month. We should end 2022 at 1.3 million. 2023 is proposed at 1.3 million. If you turn the page 7, that gives you the actual details. These are all listed along the left-hand side of the chart are the names of each of the hotels and motels for which we collect the hotel motel tax. This is another example of a local tax that rebounded after the pandemic. In 2020, we only saw about $700,000 worth of revenue. Obviously, during the height of the pandemic, people were not traveling, we're not staying in hotels, we're not utilizing our hotels for weddings and parties and such. So we did see a steep drop in that revenue in 2020, but in 2021, it rebounded, and again, in 2022, it's looking strong. So that revenue is more than reasonable in the budget. And finally, I just wanted to touch upon motor vehicle tax. As you all know, you voted last year to eliminate this tax in the 2022 budget. We got a little behind, and we finally passed the resolution to repeal this tax, sent it off to the state, did everything we were supposed to do. However, the New York State Department of Motor Vehicles is extremely slow in implementing the change that you desired. And we actually budgeted $300,000 for 2022, thinking that it would take about 3 months for this to be implemented. And it's unfortunately, well, fortunately for the county, but unfortunately for our residents, it's taken longer to actually take place. So right now, we're looking at $1.3 million year-to-date actual So we've got a $1 million surplus in motor vehicle tax for this year. And again, there is nothing budgeted in 2023 because that tax has in fact ended. The other tax that will not continue into 2023 is the residential energy tax, which is also not budgeted in 2023. Year to date for 2022, we're about a little over 9 million, which is pretty much on target of where we should be for 2022. So that essentially are those large revenue items in the budget that, as I said, I think they all appear quite reasonable, and I think we can be pretty sure that they will be realized in 2023. So the other two things I wanted to look at quickly, because I know these have been issues in past years. The first one being health insurance. And again, I just wanted to present you with some historical data so that you can make informed decisions. So looking at health insurance going back to 2012, what I have here is the adopted budget of each of those years and the actual. And if you look at 2019, we had a $2.2 million surplus in health insurance. 2020, $5.6 million surplus in health insurance. 2021, a $7.9 million surplus in health insurance. 2022, we're currently budgeted at $71.6 million. That's the modified amount. And in 2023, the budget goes up to $74.5 million. So again, we want to look at the past sometimes to see what may happen in the future. Looking at an 11-year average of 2012 through 2021, the proposed budget is $15.4 million over that 11-year average. Now, obviously, in earlier years, the cost of health insurance was much less. The rates were much less. So that might not be the right way to look at it. However, another way to look at it is that our head count is way less than it was back in 2012. So maybe it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. 2021 actual of $61.5 million is 12.9 or over $12.9 million less than what's being proposed for 2023 at $74.5 million. I know that each year when the budget is being put together, Finance Department does not always have the final rates from NISHIP. They don't always know exactly how much it's going to cost. But it seems to me that we continue to over budget this particular expense. So that's just what I'm looking at. On the flip side, retirement, right, or the cost of pensions. And again, went back to 2012 to look at what was budgeted versus what we actually spent. But retirement is a different story. 2022 was budgeted at $22.9 million, and 2023 goes down to 18.8. Less. It's going down. So I was thinking about this, and again, I'm thinking about what's happening with the economy, what's happening with the stock market, and the stock market has fallen, and thinking, well, wouldn't we have to make up more of the pension cost? I thought, well, maybe there's more to the story than that. I went to the New York State Comptroller's website, and they have a rather detailed chart of all of the different pensions, and there's, dozens of them. And obviously we're not part of all of these, but the biggest one that we are part of, they give their projections of rates. And they're saying, let's say comparing 2022 to 2023, for example, for the basic pension that most of us are in, is going to go from 12.2 to 8.5. So I was trying to look for this, correlate the same drop in rates to somehow equate it to what we drop, what they're projecting for 2023. And it just seems that the rates are going down, but not nearly as much as what's being budgeted. So there must be something else to this puzzle. I know that years ago, and Commissioner DeGroat reminded me of this, I know that years ago when the pension did go up dramatically, the county was able to enroll in a, or be part, enroll in a program whereby we were able to borrow some of that money so that we were not hit with this tremendous retirement bill. So they allowed us to borrow some of this money, and then in the following years, we paid off pieces of that. So my question to the finance department, and I've been emailing them quite a bit lately with a lot of questions, forgive me, but there's just a lot of detail. But that's one of the questions that I have submitted to the finance department, and I'm hoping that they'll get back to me with, and just kind of spell out each of those pieces, unless Commissioner DeGroat can shed some light on it right now. And here he comes.
Yes, Commissioner, if you can address both items that Nicole has raised. One would be in the health insurance.
Perfect.
And the other one would be in the.
First of all, thank you, Nicole. You always do an excellent job. I have to say, you're right on the mark with all these numbers. And secondly, Harriet, welcome back. You look wonderful. Your seat is greatly missed in this county. I don't know if you realize how much impact you have here. But every meeting we come here, you're not here, it affects me, and I'm sure it affects most of us. But you look fantastic, and welcome back, and I'm really glad you're here.
Much. I'm so happy to be back.
Okay, so we're going to let's talk about the retirement. You're 100% right. When Nicole is 100% nailed it to the T. What happened was we borrowed, when we were really financially distressed, the state was letting us borrow a third of our pension bill. Then they let us borrow 25% of our pension bill. Then they let us borrow 15%. Then they let us borrow 10%. So the numbers came down. We made our biggest debt service payment on the money we borrowed on our pension bill last year, and then now it's really dropped. I think we only have 2 little small payments left. So that's why the pension bill went from 22.9 to 18. So, our pension bill should be around 16, 17 when all the debt's paid off. But I will tell you this, I've met with the DiNapoli at our conference with the state treasurers and commissioners, and there's a lag, there's a 1-year lag in a pension. So don't be shocked if we get hit with it next year, because the investment side of it, which is really the part that reduces our bill, is disastrous this year. It's down a third. Their investments are down at least a third. A third increase on a pension bill of $20 million will give you an idea how ugly that is. So we'll just see how the market goes, but that's the issue for the drop, and you were right on that to the T. Health insurance is tough. You're right. We're always guessing because we never get the information from NISHIP, and we're always thinking it's going to go up because you always hear, oh, pensions are going, the health is going up, health insurance going up, and it did. It dropped. It especially dropped during COVID. And when we did a little research on how it dropped during COVID, people just weren't going for their colonoscopies. They weren't going for the physicals. They weren't going for a lot of they put off procedures that they needed to get done. So what happened was we watched this and we were told that this is not what they did. So what we thought is, well, there's going to be a catch up here someplace, right? Somebody's going to have to come back and say, okay, we all didn't do this. Now we got to do it. So we've been trying to pad that a little bit, thinking that it's going to bump up. Now, it hasn't hit yet, but this year, this is a very tough year. And Nicole, you did an excellent job, I want to tell you, on the sales tax and things like that, because I'm going to tell you something right now. I would sit right here in front of everybody in this legislature and tell you I wouldn't even want to guess what the rest of this year is going to look like. I wouldn't want to guess what the holiday season looks like. All I do is you walk into every food store, and every time I walk by, especially seniors, all they say is the prices are going up, the prices are going up. That's going to impact spending. okay? The consumer price index dropped. Below 50 is negative area. It dropped from 49.5 last month to 47.3. It's dropping. And I really feel that there's going to be a point where it's going to have an impact. People have had money in their pockets during COVID. There's a lot of money was put in the economy, but I think there's going to be a point with the gas prices, the food prices, and everything that's going on that somebody just sits back and says, hey, you know what? I can't go out to dinner as much as I used to. I got a call from I mentioned this in the budget release. I got a call from Dutchess County because they said their last quarterly payment or their last payment dropped 21%. And Dutchess is a big restaurant area. That's what they do. You know, they have the Culinary Institute, and they had a major drop, and they were like calling everybody up. What's going on? We had a small drop. We didn't have a big drop. The sales taxes in Rockland County are vehicles, and they're also restaurants. The good thing on the vehicles is most people lease vehicles, so the money is steady as it comes in on a lease payment, whether just buying it and lump sum payments. But this economy is very scary. Idamar's back there. We've discussed already. We've talked and we said we're in a recession already, and I believe that. I really believe that. I think we have some tough times coming ahead, and I think many times we could predict and sit there and say, okay, last year we did this. I don't think this year coming is something that anybody could actually use past standards and say, this is what we did last year. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is this is going to catch up with everybody, and I think the revenues and the funds and the market and everything that's been generated over the last 10 years, which is fantastic for everybody, is also going to catch up with everybody. And the mortgage tax, I think we're lucky if we make maybe that number. It's scary, interest rates. I mean, I'm saying municipal bonds, municipal bonds, we borrowed at 1.6, then we borrowed at 3.4. It's 4.4 today, and I can see it easily being 6%. And I can see mortgage rates going up to 8 or 9.
Yeah, you see that the entire year of 2022, with the exception of January of 2022,
Right.
it's been trending lower than 2021.
Yeah. Yep.
You see that, and I think
And that's only the
that
start.
number was not so conservative.
Right.
All the other numbers were overly conservative.
Right.
I think with the mortgage tax, I don't
Yeah.
think we're that conservative.
Well, one of the things we're doing this year, and I mentioned it to the county exec, was we always do a $30 or $40 million borrowing. And my proposal was not borrow money this coming August, to just take it out of the general fund. And that, to me, if interest rates are 6% or whatever, to me, that's a 6% savings to the county. So we don't have to pay that interest.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
So, any questions? Seeing there is none, well, thank you very much, Commissioner. Thank you very much, Nicole, as usual. Steve. So, Steve and Steve. Okay, so now we're going to go back to items number 1-1 all the way through 1-5. It passed unanimously in the Planning and Public Works Committee with moved by Legislator Yeager, seconded by Legislator Cornell. Any discussion? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item number 2-1 through 2-2, moved by Legislator Soskin, seconded by Legislator Hofstein. Any discussion? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item number 3-1, all the way through 3-4, moved by Legislator Cornell, seconded by Legislator Jobson. Any discussion? Seeing there is none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Item number 6-1 in the Environmental Committee, approving contracts $100,000 for the acquisition of properties from Edward Schmidt and William Schmidt located at 176 and 180 South Mountain Road, New City, New York, for total amount not to exceed $1.8 million. And authorizing the execution by the county executive, moved by Legislator Cornell, seconded by Legislator Hofstein, Wolf. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. I didn't realize there was a second two. Okay, 6-2. Referral number 9301B, approving contracts on Charlton Tolman not to exceed $1,390,000 for the acquisition of two properties located at 1015 and 1019 Route 45, Pomona, New York, from the Susan Gordon and the Edmund Woods Gordon Revocable Trust, and authorizing its execution by the county executive, moved by legislator Wolf, seconded, and Earl, seconded by legislator Cornell. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. That concludes everything on the agenda. A motion to adjourn by legislator Earl, seconded by legislator Soskin. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Nicole, that was wonderful. You did a great job. You always do.
Mike's off, everyone.
Look at this.